Hebrews 10:35 through 39. Cast not therefore away your confidence, which hath great recompense of reward. For you have need of patience, that after you have done the will of God, you might receive the promise. For yet a little while, and he that shall come, and will not tarry. Now, I like to add this, for now, until the one who's coming shows up, for now, the just shall live by faith. But if any man draw back from what? From living by faith. My soul shall have no pleasure in him. But we, us faith people, we right direction people, we believe God, period people, we who stand on the word and believe that he said what he meant and he meant what he said, we are not of them who draw back unto perdition or destruction. So he's saying if you draw back from faith, you're going to be destroyed. If you draw back from faith, then you have conceded to the devil. If you draw back from faith, then the devil can do what he wants to do. We are not of them that draw back unto perdition. But we are of them, or we are those that believe to the saving of the soul. On your way down, tell your neighbor, keep on believing, keep on believing, keep on believing. Now, I actually planned on, I'll probably preach on it later, because I already started preparing another series about mean Christians. Yeah, about these mean Christians. We got to stop this stuff. Yeah, I'm going to preach a message about mean Christians, but we'll come back to that later. Maybe y'all get yourself together. I won't need to teach it. But we were, as I was having breakfast with my pastor, Pastor Trey said to me, he said, are you finished with Keep On Believing? He said, that was just a one and done message, huh? I said, yeah, I think I did finish that. I went back, looked at my notes, said, no, there's still a whole lot more I need to say about that. So I had to go back into that, and I want to continue with what I started. It was actually probably 3-4 weeks ago, because in between there, I think we had Mother's Day and Pentecost Sunday and Father's Day with a guest speaker. And so I want to go back, so hopefully you remember what I already said. I ain't going to do a lot of review. But the subject is keep on believing, or you can put it this way, stay in faith. When we tell you to stay in faith, what we're encouraging you to do is to keep on believing despite the circumstances. Because as we continue with this today, I want to remind you that your faith is the winning ticket. Your faith is the winning ticket. That's why it says don't cast away your confidence. Your confidence is your faith. Your faith is the confidence. And this is the confidence that we have in him, that if we ask anything according to his will, he heareth us. And we know that he hears us, then we know that we have the petitions that we ask of him. And so your faith is the winning ticket. I don't care what things look like. I don't care how high prices go. I don't care what the Supreme Court does. I don't care what the White House does, what the state legislature does. We don't get so despondent, so despairing, so discouraged that we just fling away our faith. That's why people backslide. People backslide because they got caught up in something that made them fling away their faith. Well, what does it matter? I've been tired and forget this. Something happens you didn't think was going to happen. Come on, let me. For all the folks, I wish it, I don't have nobody on the camera there. I want to tell you to scan the audience as I ask this. Okay, all of us who are faithful, come to church all the time, serve God, and something happened that you didn't think was going to happen, or something didn't happen that you thought was going to happen, raise your hands. That's part of living by faith. That's part of the human experience. Come on, keep those hands up. Keep for the folks watching online. Okay, because people think that because something happened that we didn't expect to happen, or something didn't happen that you thought would happen, that gives you an excuse to stay home and say, I ain't serving God anymore. No, we keep on going. Thank you so much. We keep on going. We keep on believing. And see, what also will keep you believing, keep trusting, and keep on going is to really understand this. This is a whole nother revelation. God doesn't exist for us. We exist for him. For thy pleasure, all things are created. So see, if you get your theology wrong to think that God exists for you, rather than you existing for him, you would think when he doesn't perform like the genie in the bottle for you, that gives you a reason to leave God. That gives you a reason to not come to church anymore. That gives you a reason to go find some other religion. Okay, that gives you some reason to say, I'm not doing this. No, we exist for him. And then here's another concept that you got to understand. Another, if you allow me to say, fundamental understanding of God is that he's sovereign. Sovereign means at the end of the day, what your mama told you, I can do what I want to do. That's what sovereign means. God can do what he wants to do. Now, he's gracious enough, he's kind enough that he often explains to us. He often will tell us. He will often give us revelation, understanding, but sometimes that don't happen in the moment. Sometimes understanding comes years later. Sometimes it's 10 years, oh, that's why I went through that. 10 years later, oh, now when you're raising your child and you're going through something that, oh, that's why that happened before. When you're pastoring a church of thousands of people and then, oh, that's why I had to be faithful and go through that when I had 10 people. Sometimes the sovereignty of God allows him to know things that we don't know. Your faith ain't strong enough till you understand it's all right for God to know something I don't know. Because he's God. Look at your neighbor and say, stay out of God folks' business. Stay out of God. Stay out of God folks' business. That's why our parents say, stay out of grown folks. Something that ain't got nothing to do with you. God said, I got a plan. I'm working on something. I don't have to tell you all my plans. This ain't none of your business right now. You'll know what you need to know. Bishop Betty used to say years ago, I don't run my church quite like this. But the original Bishop Betty used to get him to say, this church is run on a need-to-know basis. This church is run on a need-to-know basis. You know what you need to know. Now, I don't quite operate like that. That's why I have business meetings and transparent about stuff. But sometimes God operates like that. I'm going to deal with you on a need-to-know basis. I'm going to tell you what you need to know. Because if I told you everything in advance, you would run from most things. If God told the children of Israel, I'm going to take you out into the promised land, and I'm going to take you through the desert, and I'm going to take you to the promised land, but said, well, on the way, there's going to be times when you're not going to know what you're going to eat and what you're going to drink. They said, well, no, why are we doing that? Ain't nobody got time to not know what I'm going to eat or drink in the desert. See, something God the Bible, and then God, not only that, when God took them out of Egypt, the Bible said he took them through area that was far longer than it would necessarily. In other words, God took them on the local route versus the express route. He said because they weren't ready to fight. Oh, that's the mercy of God right there. Something God takes us through because you ain't ready to fight that. You don't have the strength that's necessary. I know you want to do that. You want to go there. You want this to happen that quickly. But God said, no, it's my mercy that's taking you the long route and taking you the local route because you're not ready for these interstate fights. Y'all aren't hearing me here. That was better than y'all responded. So your faith is the winning ticket. Don't fling it away. So verse 35 of Hebrews 10 tells us, don't cast away your confidence. Verse 36 tells us we had need of endurance. And what's endurance? Patience. Steadfast endurance, despite obstacles, despite pressure, despite contrary wind, despite dire circumstances, you have need of patience. Verse 37 tells us, for yet a little while he that shall come will come and will not tarry. Now he tells us, stay in expectation. He that will come, he that shall come will come. I like that. He that shall come will come. And he that will come shall come. And will not tarry. And that almost sounds like a contradiction. But I've lived long enough to understand this. That in other words, he's saying, but he that shall come will come and will not tarry. But I'm tarrying right now, which means wait. I'm waiting. Why does it say he that? In other words, say when God get ready to do it, it's going to happen quick. That's what that means. He that shall come will come and will not tarry. You can be waiting for something for years and God will accelerate it. I'm a living witness to that. That when it looked like it wasn't going to happen, it happens quick. I'm here to prophesy to somebody who dared to come to church this morning on this last Sunday in June to tell you, God getting ready to do something quick in your life. Something that looked like it wasn't happening, God get ready to manifest it, and it's going to happen quick, and it's going to look like you've been working on it for all this time, but God's going to redeem and restore years, and God's going to redeem time, and he's going to speed stuff up, and it's going to look like it was an overnight wonder. Somebody say, I receive that. So he says, stay in expectation. He that shall come will come. Keep expecting God to show up. Keep expecting God to show up. Let me say it again. Keep expecting God to show up. David said it this way in Psalm 62, 5 and 6. My soul wait silently for God alone. For my expectation is from him. That's Psalm 62, 5 and 6. My expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. Watch this. I ain't going nowhere. I shall not be moved. Y'all didn't catch that. He said, I'm waiting. He says, his spirit is talking to his soul. His spirit, where he knows God is real and God is true, is talking to all his emotions that he's feeling and said, get yourself together. So wait silently for God alone. My expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my defense and my salvation. He is my defense. Here we go. I shall not be moved because I know he's my rock. He's my defense. I don't care what it looks like. I ain't going nowhere. Come on, look, somebody say, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Just like the tree planted by the rivers of water. I shall not be moved. No. It looks bad. It looks tough. It looks scary, but I ain't going nowhere. Come on, you ain't ready to be married until you got that type of mindset. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going to be moved. You're not ready to raise children and go through the turbulent teenage years until the fact of them getting high and the fact of them being rebellious that you say, I ain't going to be moved. I ain't going to be. Oh, they're going to serve God. They're going to serve God. They're going to live for Jesus. God going to get glory out of this. He's going to turn it around. It's going to work in for a testimony. Come on, you got to get to a certain place in your life that no matter what's going on, I shall not be moved. Staying in expectation. That's what Habakkuk meant when he said in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Some people say Habakkuk. 2nd chapter, verse 2 through 4. Habakkuk, in the book of Habakkuk, the Bible starts off, it says the burden of Habakkuk. He was burdened and troubled by the circumstances of Israel. He was troubled and burdened by the fact that it looked like the devil was winning. He was burdened and troubled by the fact that it looked like that the enemy was triumphing over them and looked like they would be defeated. It was looking like God has forsaken them, and God started telling him, I got a plan, but it's going to take, it's down in the future. It's going to be some years, but in the meantime, you don't have to go through this. And then so Habakkuk says, after God starts talking to him, Habakkuk second chapter starting in verse 2, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision. Make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision, for the life that God has for you, for the promises to be manifested, is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. Those of you who knew the right direction, let me explain to you what I've taught for years, how we work our faith. We speak the vision until the vision speaks for itself. We speak the vision until the vision speaks for itself. Come on, I've been saying for years. Every preacher's been here. Preachers have come and at conferences. And in the midst of that, I said, we're going to be building. We're going to be building. We're going to be building. We got all those trees you see over there. We're going to be building. And no, I don't have to keep saying people come on this property. They say, oh, you building. I was speaking a vision, but when the vision starts manifesting, it speaks for itself. Are y'all hearing me here? See, keep riding the hoopty saying, I'm getting me a new car, I'm getting me a new car, I'm getting me a new car, I'm getting me a new car. Ride the hoopty, I'm getting me a new car, I'm getting me a new car. Yeah, I'm getting me a new car, and then one day somebody will come up in your driveway, they're going to look and say, you got a new car. You don't have to say nothing. You speak the vision till the vision speaks for itself. Until then, keep speaking the vision. The vision for a point in time, at the end, it will speak. It shall speak for itself and will not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it. Though it's waiting, wait for it. Because it will surely come. Stay in expectation. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. This is what Hebrews 10:35 through 39 is based upon. Waiting for the vision to manifest. Waiting for the promises to take flesh. Jesus existed in spirit form before he ever existed in natural form. So John picks it up and says this way, and the word was made flesh and dwelled. The word existed before the flesh existed. Y'all are catching me here. And the word was made flesh and dwelt among us. That's how God's promises work. It's in word form, but it's about to take flesh form. Y'all don't hear me. It's in word form, but it's about to take brick and mortar form. It's in word form, but it's about to take natural form. Hold on to the word form until it's made flesh. Stay in expectation. Expectation, we've heard this before, is the breeding ground for miracles. Say that with me. Say, expectation is the breeding ground for miracles. Let me tell y'all something here. Every now and then I do a healing service. I don't take those for granted. That ain't just me getting together for another night and just say, oh, just have a service. I'm preparing for that. I'm expecting signs and wonders to happen. Are y'all hearing me? I'm fasting, I'm praying. How dare you say I'm your man of God and you need healing, you stay away from a healing service. That tells me you're not expecting anything. Really, I had to get myself together. I knew folks were going through things that the last time we had a healing service. I said, they had to do this, we had to do that. I said, what? Oh, y'all playing church. Y'all playing church. You're just going through the rituals. You don't really have expectation. When I have expectation, I expect tumors to dissolve. When you got expectation, you expect pain to leave and never return again. When you have expectation, you expect debt cancellation and you never be in debt again. I'm talking about somebody who still got some expectation that God can turn my situation around. I ain't just talking about coming to church. I ain't just talking about going through the ritual. I have expectation that God's going to work a miracle in my life. Come on, give God an expectation praise. Hey! Expectation. Expectation is the breeding ground for miracles. So he said, he that shall come will come, stay in expectation. Proverbs 23:18 put it this way, for surely there's an end. Oh my God. Oh, it ain't going to be like this always. For surely there's an end, and thine expectation shall not be cut off. Pastor Moss has often told y'all when we, in the early days of our marriage, when we were going through and in poverty, I would never say we were in poverty at the time, but I had checked. I saw what the poverty line was for a family of 2 or 3. We was under it, and just when I thought we got over it, she would have another baby. I said, work with her, brother. I'm trying to get us out of poverty. Then you have another baby and put us back under that line. But one time we were laying there with the lights off. Not because we were trying to be romantic, but because me and the power company was beefing. They said, we ain't turning your power on until you give us some money. I said, you better turn my power on. They said, make me. I said, you better, oh, come on down that electric company. And they wasn't scared of me. So they cut it off. And we're laying there in Maine. You need to understand, Maine, it was electric heat. We in an apartment. It's electric heat. No fireplace, no gas, electric heat. And we there in Maine in the winter with no heat, no lights. And I wasn't trying to make babies. I was just trying to stay warm. Stuff happens. All wrapped up. And I'll never forget, I told Marsha, I said, baby, it won't be this way always. I didn't know how things were going to turn around, but I know this ain't going to be our life story. I may be going through, but I'm doing that. I'm going through. I'm not stuck. Look, somebody say, I ain't stuck. I'm going through. I'm going through. Oh, come on. If you're going through, that means I got expectation. I'm coming out. Oh, let me hear you say it again. If you're going through, that means I got expectation. I'm coming out. Somebody who ain't stuck, say, I'm going through, but I'm coming out. Hey, glory to God. Stuck is when there's no expectation. Stuck is when you think this is how it's going to be always. And I told her, though we were cold with no utility, it won't be this way always. For surely there's an end, and our expectation will not be cut off. Now watch this. Catch this. You can cut off your expectation, but your expectation won't be cut off. The only way your expectation is cut off is that you cut off your expectation. You make the choice to stop believing, but if you keep believing, expectation is going to produce something. Oh, come on. I never said that before. I'm just telling you about the Spirit of God. Don't cut off your expectation. If you don't cut off your expectation will not be cut off. About 4 sisters from Detroit wrote a song many years ago. We know them as the Clark Sisters. And the lyrics said, I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. I see the invisible. I feel the intangible. And then I like this part. I expect a miracle every day. God can make a way out of no way. Then an alto came in and said, I expect a miracle too. Every day, God can make a way out of no way. And then a soprano came in and said, I expect a miracle every day. God can make a way out of no way. No, just saying, we stay in expectation. I don't care what it look like. If it don't happen today, it can happen tomorrow. If it don't happen on Monday, it can happen on Tuesday. If it don't happen on Tuesday, it can happen on Wednesday. If it don't happen on Wednesday, it can happen on Thursday. If it don't happen on Thursday, it can happen on Friday. If it don't happen on Friday, it can happen on Saturday. If it don't happen this week, it can happen next week. If it don't happen next week, it can happen in 2 weeks. If it don't happen in 2 weeks, it can happen in 3 weeks. If it don't happen this month, it can happen next month. But I'm going to stay in expectation. I expect a miracle every day. And this just might be the day for your miracle. And this just might be the day for your turnaround. And this just might be the day for your breakthrough. And this just might be the day for that wall to come down. And this just might be the day for the fetters to be broken. Somebody shout, I expect a miracle every day. Hey! Keep on believing. Keep on believing. Keep on believing. Expectation is the breeding ground for miracles. Then as we go further in that text from Hebrews 10, verse 37, a little while, and he shall come, will come. That's expectation. And then he goes on to say, verse 38, now the just shall live by faith. And if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. So now when he moves on, verse 38, he's telling us that in order to keep on believing, that you can't draw back. To keep on believing, you can't draw back from faith. Faith is something that moves you forward, not draws back. Look, somebody say, I ain't going back, I'm going forward. Glory to God, glory to God. You know, I was teaching on this a couple weeks ago. I need y'all to embrace this, particularly, by the time I've been pastoring for 26 years now. Okay, I started pastoring this church when I was 34. Okay, and people grow with the pastor grows with the church, and there's an expectation of a certain age radius that you have when you get a certain age. But so a lot of you here who've been in this church for years, we are getting older. Okay, you're getting towards those older years, and some of you are thinking retirement who didn't think retirement before, and some of you are retiring, and then some of y'all, I'll be asking folks, you ain't retired yet? They say, no, Pastor, I ain't retired. I can, but I'm not. I got my Social Security thing the other day. I said, I can forget retirement. He told me I'm going to get a whole whopping $2,100 a month. Yes, Lord. I got to learn some new scriptures. Yes, Lord. But watch this. I want you to catch this. The American way of thinking, the Western way of thinking, and it's natural, it's from our economic system as it's designed, makes you think that life goes like this. Okay? And then you get to a certain age, and then things start going down. Your strength goes down, your body goes down, but more so, what I'm talking about is that your finances go down. And what I'm telling you as believers, we got to renew our minds on that. It's nothing like, the word does not support that. Oh. No, I'm very serious about this. So we got to renew our minds with that, because if you talk to any financial advisor, they will always tell you, well, at this stage of life, you will have less income. Okay? When you get those, okay, just because I'm not producing it, don't mean God stopped producing it. God. Just because I ain't working don't mean my faith ain't working. Oh, y'all don't hear me here. Just because I'm not punching the clock don't mean that God got off the clock. See, so we got to renew our minds about this. When I read the word, the Bible tells me that Abraham was old. Now, he was already old when he had his child. We know that he was 100. So now he's still old enough to help his son go get a wife. And he sends his servant to go get a wife. And his servant, who's believed to be Eliezer, when he goes and sees Rebecca, right? Rachel or Rebecca, I get them mixed up. When he sees her father, he says, I am Abraham's servant, and the Lord has blessed my master greatly in his old age. Y'all don't kill me here. They all don't catch that. The Lord has blessed my master greatly in his old age. And he was on to say, and the Lord has blessed him in all things. See, as he got older, it started getting better. As he got older, more increase started coming. I want us to renew our minds and have expectation that we don't draw back from faith just because the American system says this is the age and that's the age, and the young people are earning, the older people are suffering. The devil is a lie. We keep on believing just like Abraham did. Abraham had to keep on believing. Like Abraham, listen to me, who would have looked insane if his friends and family were around him. I thought about that. I was, this morning when I was out on my back patio, drinking my coffee, praying in the Holy Ghost, looked up at the sky and said, this is what y'all be doing. The Lord said this to me. He said, I had to take Abraham away from his family in order to give him the promise that I gave him. The Lord didn't give him a promise of a child first. The first thing God says to Abraham is in Hebrews, the 12th chapter. He says, I need you to leave your mother and your father and your kindred and go to a land that I will show you. Because what I'm getting ready to say to you, and I want you to say, your family gonna think you done lost your mind. Abraham 75 and says, I want y'all to call me father of many nations. Hey, man, we'd have known you and Sarah all your life. Y'all got married when you was 15. She ain't never had no child. And how you going to wait till you're 75 and now talking about, I'm going to be the father of many nations? You ain't the father of one nation. So we had to move him away. Where, sometimes, y'all, you just got to get along with just your thoughts and God. You got to let God speak to you unhindered, uncontaminated, uninterrupted by anybody else's opinion, by anybody else's philosophy. I know what God said to me, and he spoke it to me when I was alone with him in my secret place. He would look like he was crazy. So he had to move him from a surrounding of his family and friends. Sometimes God has to remove you and separate you from people so you can stay in faith. That's a word for somebody. Sometimes the Lord has to remove you and separate you from people so you can stay in faith. Jesus healed the blind man, several blind men, but one of them, the Bible says, Mark the 8th chapter and verse 23, before he could heal the blind man, he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of town. You in a town where folks don't believe like this. You in a town where folks think you crazy for even thinking that you can get out of town. Yeah, so he took him by the hand, led him out of town, Mark 8:23. And when he spit on his eyes and put his hands on him, he asked him if he saw anything. Come on, Meet, I need y'all to work with me today. Get somebody back there that can help me. And when he spit on his eyes, he put his hands on him. And he asked him if he saw anything. He had to take him out of town. And sometimes you are in an atmosphere of folks who just don't believe. Well, I ain't never seen that before. What makes you think you gonna be the one? Ain't nobody else in our family been able to do that. And then once you get it, they say, you think you're better than us. No, I just got more faith. You could have believed God too, but I chose to believe, and y'all chose to be limited by what our family had done rather than what God can do. Y'all chose to be limited by what has been done versus what God will do. See, remember I told you faith keeps you moving forward. Faith keeps you moving forward. He took him out of town, spit in his eyes. And a man came seeing. Sometimes God to move you around, move you away from people who are limiting your faith. Listen, I understand. You know, come on, I get it. I get it. When you're part of a church like this, and you know, we're at this point, when you here 26 years, we're an established church. Folks used to fight me. They ain't try to fight me no more. Hey, we can't do nothing bad. It is what it is. God done that thing. Ain't no, listen, just move on to somebody else. That's why I'm glad when new preachers come who growing. I'm like, praise the Lord. Let the persecution be spread around. Because folks always going to hate on people who are increasing. Amen. So if you don't want to increase, if you want to stay average, if you want to stay, if you don't want anybody talking about you, if you don't want folks making up stuff about you, just blend in. Once you step out, somebody's going to have a problem. Amen. So when you, listen, the persecution comes with the blessing. Persecution comes with increase. Persecution comes with exceptionalism. So Jesus before Jesus raised up Jairus' daughter. Remember, Jairus comes to him after having intercessors to say he's worthy. The woman with the issue of blood holds up Jesus. And now by the time Jesus finally gets ready to proceed as he was doing before the woman with the issue of blood comes to go to Jairus' house, they still don't even bother the master anymore. She's dead. She was on a critical list. There was beeping. Now there has been one long permanent beep, and she is dead now. And Jesus said, believe only, and your daughter shall be made whole. So we pick up here in Luke 8, verse 51 through 54. He said he comes into the house where the girl is. Luke 8, 51 through 54. And when he came into the house, he permitted no one to come in except who? Peter, James, and John. You got to know who to let in the room and who to put out the room. Oh, that's for somebody. You got to know who to let in your life and who to put out your life. Come on. Sometimes I don't have to cut you off. I just got to put you in a different place. I don't have to cut you off. I just got to change my proximity to you. Because where I am right now, I don't need nobody talking like that and thinking like that close within my earshot. Oh, I'm preaching to somebody here today. So we pick up here in Luke 8:51. He came into the house and he permitted no one to go in except Peter, James, and John. That's his inner circle. And the father and the mother. Somebody who had a vested interest in seeing that this miracle happened. Sometimes, oh my God, sometimes you need people around you who want it to happen for you as much as you want it to happen for you. Who want your breakthrough as much as you want your breakthrough. Who want your turnaround as much as you want your turnaround. Who have a vested interest in your child as much as you have a vested interest in your child. So he put everybody out except Peter, James, and John, and the mother and father. Verse 52, now all those folks were weeping and mourning for her. But he said, do not weep, for she's not dead, but sleeping. And they ridiculed him, knowing she was dead. I mean, this is New King James, y'all. Verse 54, and he put them all out. Look, somebody say, you got to go, you got to go. Sometimes you got to just say, you got to go, you got to. Oh, now see somebody just split up with their husband. That is not what I said. I ain't tell y'all, I ain't trying to break up nobody's marriage. Don't lose the revelation with the illustration. I was at church and the bishop told me to tell you, you got to go. Don't lose revelation with illustration. Doubters got to go. Scoffers got to go. Cynical people got to go. Naysayers got to go. Little faith people got to go. This is a big faith item here. So look, somebody say, I'm working on a big faith item. I'm working on a big faith. The Bible says, oh yeah, little faith. I need some folks with some big faith. So if there's little faith, there got to be big faith. I need some folks. Yes, sir. When I'm building a $15 million facility, I don't need nobody with no little faith. Oh, my God. One pastor said to me, what bank got involved with that project? What bank doing that? My God's doing this. And he can use anybody he want to use. Look, somebody say, I need some big faith people around me. Put them all out, took her by the hand and called and said, little girl, arise. Before God worked that miracle in Abraham's life and gave him a child, he had to call him away. And then we pick up in Romans 4th chapter, gives us more details about the Abraham's faith process to keep believing. In Romans 4, verse 18, it says, Abraham, who against hope believed in hope. When nothing made sense, when everything was against him, when every natural circumstance was contrary, when all the human reasoning said this can't happen, who against hope believed in hope that he might become. It hasn't happened, but I will become. Come on, somebody say I will become. You fill in the blank right there. I don't know what you're believing to become, but you fill in the blank. Say it again, I will become. Some of you is believing to become a mother, become a father. Say I will become. Some of you believing to become debt free. Somebody say I will become. Somebody believing to get off your job and to work your business full time and be a full-time entrepreneur. Somebody say I will become. Somebody don't own a home yet. You've been renting and it seems like you can't buy a house, but you believe you're going to become a homeowner. Somebody say I will become. Some of you seem like you can't get from under the debt of loans and debt, particularly student loans. But somebody believes, God, I'm going to be debt free. Say, I will become. So we had to believe that he might become the father of many nations according to that which is spoken. I'm going to become what God said. That's what Abraham. I'm going to become what God said, and being not weak in faith. He considered not his own body, which was now dead. From that phrase, that's where I get the statement that I've been saying over the years. What God's getting ready to do with me has nothing to do with me. He considered not his own body. What God's going to produce from this body has nothing to do with this body. It has to do with God's supernatural power that will come upon this body. That's what Mary had to understand. and the Spirit of the Lord will come upon you. He says, consider now his own body was now dead. He said, because that's over. Ain't nothing happening here. Now, don't let me go into more details about this. He knew it was dead because they tried to, Sarah several times tried to make it come back to life. It's dead, Sarah, it's dead. Abraham! It was dead, it was dead. That's revelation, that's revelation. Don't lose revelation to illustration. His body now dead when he was about 100 years old. Neither the deadness of Sarah's womb. He dead, she dead. Dead plus dead don't equal life. But verse 20 says he staggered not. He was steadfast, consistent. He stayed in line with God's promise. He staggered not the promise of God through unbelief. But he was where, here we go, that's strong faith again. Strong in faith, giving glory to God. Strong faith gives God glory. God is glorified through strong faith and being fully persuaded that what God had promised, he was able to perform. God does not say anything he's not able to do. God does not make any promises he's unable to fulfill. He was able to perform, and therefore, because he just believed God, God called him righteous based upon his faith. Righteousness was declared unto him and imputed unto him. Listen, y'all, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain by staying in faith. Say this, I have nothing to lose and everything to gain, so I might as well stay in faith. Glory to God. I know it looks like you're older. I know it looks like things have been this way a long time. I know sometimes it looks like you got more years behind you than in front of you. I know it looks like it's been this way for so long that sometimes your faith says, why even bother now? But there's a promise of the word of God to you from Isaiah 40, 29 through 31. He gives power to the weak. And to those who have no might, he increases strength. God's the God of increase. I know you feel like you're weak. I know you feel like I can't go any further. I can't go on, but I want to let you know, God increases strength. Even the youths shall faint and be weary. He said, folks far younger than you won't give up before you. Folks far younger than you won't be able to accomplish what you're accomplishing. Folks far younger than you won't be able to go as far as you're going. Folks far younger than you won't be able to do what you're doing. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall fall. But those that wait stay in expectation. Those that keep expecting, those who say, it's any day now it can happen. All these years, any day it can happen now. Those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagle. Somebody say, I'm about to mount up, I'm about to mount up. They'll run, not be weary. They'll walk and not faint. In other words, God said, you're going to have the burst of energy you need to do what you need to do when you need it. That look like a long way, but you're going to run and you will not be weary. You're going to walk and look like a long journey, but you ain't going to faint. Glory to God. You will have what you need, the strength you need, the fortitude you need, the energy you need, the help you need to get the thing done. You know, Caleb stayed in faith. Caleb kept on believing. We saw in Numbers 13 when those 12 spies and two of them, the faithful minority, Joshua and Caleb, they're the only ones who believe God. The rest of them said we can't do it, so they ended up dying in the wilderness. But Caleb kept on believing God. And Caleb had every right to say, listen, I'd have been in this wilderness all this year. Don't even bother now. I thought I was going to raise my kids in the promised land. I thought I would have me a nice house by now. That was supposed to happen that was 45 years ago. I ain't even think about it. I'm at a whole different place in life now. That's not what Caleb said. We see in Joshua 14, verse 10 through 12, it says, and now he comes to Joshua now as he's getting ready to divide the land to the second generation who's gone out, and he and Joshua, the only one from the first generation still there. He said, now behold, the Lord has kept me alive as he said, these 45 years, ever since the Lord spake this word to Moses while Israel wandered in the wilderness, and now here I am this day, 85 years old. No, he said, the Lord kept me alive so he can fulfill some more promises. Woo, glory to God. God has kept me around so he can show me how good he is. I still believe to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. God ain't through blessing me. I'm still here so God can show me how strong he is. I'm still here so God can show me how he can make a way out of no way. I'm still here so what God can show me he'll do in my old age. Look, somebody say, I'm still here. Black and ugly, but I'm still here. He's kept me alive. Verse 11. And then he started talking with some swag. He started talking some faith talk. He said, not only that, look at me. Look at me, Joshua. Look at me. I'm as strong today. I can see him out there going. All right, I got to go take a nap now. Joshua starts showing out. Said, look at me. I'm as strong. I heard somebody say one time, said the old man said, he said, Lord, he said, it seemed like it take me all day to get out the bed. And then I go take a nap. That wasn't Joshua. Joshua said, yet I'm as strong this day as the day that Moses sent me. Just as my strength was then, so now is my strength for war, both for going out and coming in. He said, I'm going to do what I need to do to get what God said I'm supposed to have. He stayed in faith. He kept on believing. Now, therefore, give me this mountain, which the Lord spoke in that day. He said it's 45 years later, but I still want what God's promised me. The scripture says that God will avenge them speedily. He said, nevertheless, will there be faith in the earth? So, in other words, when God shows up to do it, will you still be in that position of faith? Or he said, never mind. Now, I'm really trying to renew somebody's mind on this because we had to do this. Pastor Marshall and I had to do this. This house we moved in last year, we wasn't looking for this. That wasn't my plan. I said, oh, no, we're good. I'm on a certain, timeline and time frame and when stuff going to be this and when stuff going to be paid off and all that. No, I ain't trying to do this at this season in my life. But when God has promised for you, God said, I don't care nothing about your time. It's about my time. Are y'all listening to me? So I want you to stay open to God's promises and keep on believing. Give me this mountain which the Lord spoke that I'm supposed to have you. For you heard in that day how the Anakim was there and the cities were great and fortified. It may be that the Lord be with me and I shall be able to drive them out as the Lord said. I'm still willing to fight. God looking for some people still willing to fight for what he told you. I'm still believing because Peter reminds us in 1 Peter 5:10, 5 and 10, he says, the Lord God, but God of all grace, who has called us unto eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after you've suffered a while, after you've waited, after you've gone through, even after your disappointments, after you suffered a while, he's going to make you perfect. He's going to establish you. He's going to strengthen you, and he's going to settle you. See, I know you're going through, I know you feel like you're suffering, but there's an after this suffering. After this suffering, God is going to perfect you, mature you. He's going to establish you that you'll never go back. He's going to strengthen you. He's going to settle you and put you in a place that the devil will never be able to remove you from. Let me end this, y'all. But I want to encourage y'all to keep on believing during the dark days. Sometimes there's dark days, but you got to keep on believing. Psalms 18:28, it says, for God, there's a promise of God, you will light my lamp. The Lord my God will enlighten my darkness. God's going to lighten your lamp. It may look like it's dark, but God's going to show you how it can still be done at this season in your life. Are y'all hearing me? Psalms 112:4 says, unto the upright, I love this. Unto the upright, there rises light in darkness. Even when it looks dark, if you keep walking uprightly before God, light is going to come. Glory to God. I know it looks like it's dark now. I know it looks dreary now. I know it looks miserable now. Oh, but light is coming. I'm prophesying to somebody. God getting ready to shine a light in your dark situation. God getting ready to help you see your way out. God getting ready to show you what to do in the midst of this thing. Light is coming in your dark situation. That's what happened with Peter. Not Peter, with Paul. In Acts 27, the Bible says, starting in verse 20, around 20, there was neither sun nor stars appeared for many days. It was dark, not just for one day, but for many days. We couldn't navigate our way through this storm. We didn't know which way was up, which way was north, south, east, or west. The wind wouldn't let up off of us. But verse 21 says, during the dark time, Paul got along with God. It's a long abstinence. That means fasting. Sometimes during your darkest day, you need to get along with God and fast and ask God for strategy. And ask him to show you the light in the midst of this situation. After long abstinence, Paul stood before them and said, you should have listened to me. But nevertheless, he says in verse 22, I urge you, take heart. Because there will be no loss of life among you, but of the ship. Why do you know this? Because even though it's dark, why do you know this? Because even though nobody knows what to do, God has given me a word. And the word that God gave me, verse 23, there stood by me an angel of the Lord, to whom I belong and whom I serve. And the angel said, do not be afraid, Paul. You must be brought before Caesar. That means there's still places I got to go and people I got to see. Devil, you can't take me out. There's still things I got to do. There's some meetings I got to have. Some places I got to go. Things I got to do. There's some people I got to see. There's some meetings I got to have. Devil, you ain't taking me out because I ain't done this yet. And the Lord showed me that. Oh, y'all hearing me here? One of the things I told the devil when he told me he want to kill me along with all the other bishops who died with COVID, I said, no, I can't die. Oh, no, I can't die. I got to walk my daughter down the aisle. Y'all ain't hearing me here. I got an appointment. I got to walk my daughter down the aisle. I promised my daughter I'm going to walk her down the aisle. See, when the devil tell you he's going to take you out, see your future. Oh, no. I'm not a homeowner yet. Oh, no. I'm not out of debt yet. Oh, no. This hasn't happened for my child yet. Oh, no. I ain't got my degree yet. I can't die now. There's still some promises that I'm holding on to that still got to manifest in my life. Woo, Jesus. Paul, you must be brought before Caesar. And not only that, because of you, everybody on here going to be saved. Oh, come on. Sometimes God going to deliver the rest of your family because of you. God going to deliver the rest of your household because of you. But they just ain't living right, but you keep living right. He'll spare the unrighteous for the righteous. Oh, y'all hear me here? Just because you serving God, just because you got seed in the ground, just because you being faithful, just because you are tithing, he'll rebuke the devourer over your whole house just because of your tithe. Oh my God. Somebody say, I got to stay faithful. I got to stay faithful. I don't care what they do. I got to keep serving the Lord. I got to keep doing what God told me to do. Let them do what they're going to do, but I'm going to keep serving God. Oh, Jesus. Oh, Lord, I'm really trying to finish this, y'all. Listen, I want you to keep believing during the dark days. And I want you to keep believing until things turn. Keep believing until things turn. Paul says in Philippians 1:19, I know, I have an assurance. As the old saints used to say, I can't say the old saints no more when you're 60. As the saints used to say, I know that I know that I know I know. Deep down in my know, I know that this shall turn to my salvation through your prayer and the supply of the Spirit of Jesus. Paul said, listen, I know the saints are praying for me. And the effectual fervent prayer of the righteous avail much. I know I got folks praying for me, and if any two of you on earth shall agree as touching anything, it shall be done. I know y'all praying for me, and because you're praying for me, one gonna chase 1,000, and two gonna put 10,000, and because I know I'm connected with a household of faith, people are praying for me, people making declarations, people making confessions, people who are binding the devil, people who are loosing the Spirit of God. Then because I'm connected to a house where I know we're praying for one another, I know this got to turn. Look at somebody, say it's about to turn. It's going to turn. It's going to turn. It's going to turn. Hey, Shabbat. It's about to turn. Oh, I'm feeling that in my spirit. It's about to turn. It's about to turn. It's about to turn. I know you've been going down this road for a long time, but it's about to turn. Oh my God, my God, my God. Something's about to turn. Something's about to break. Something's about to turn in your life. I dare you to turn around one time and say, it's about to turn in my life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. It's about to turn. When the Lord turned our captivity, we were like them that dream. Then was our mouth filled with laughter. I didn't mean to do that, y'all. Real quick. Sit down real quick. I'm almost there, I promise. There's one last point I want to give you. I want one last point. This text, Hebrews 10:39, it says, we believe. Hey, Shabahasa, Shatarabaka, Ashamamamandarabe. Hey! It's about to turn. It's about to turn. Devil. Oh, devil. If you're going to take me out, you should have took me out by now. If I want to backslide, I should have backslid years ago. Because it's about to turn. It's about to turn. I didn't know how, but something down on the inside of me telling me to go ahead. Because it's about to turn in my life. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. It's about to turn. Oh, no. God saying about to, it's turning right now. It's turning right now. The things you've seen before, you will see no more. The enemies you saw before, you will see no more. God give you a different perspective. It's turning. It's turning. It's turning. You didn't see a way out, but because it's turning, you're seeing your way clear. You didn't see how it's going to work, but because it's turning, God's showing you how it's going to work in your favor. It's turning right now. It's turning right now. It's turning right now. Hey! Hey! It's turning right now. It's turning right now. It's turning right now. Because you didn't let go. It's turning. Because you didn't give up. It's turning. Because you kept sowing, It's turning because you didn't backslide. It's turning because you didn't give up. It's turning. It's turning right now. It's turning right now. It's turning right now. Hey! Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. The devil is a liar. Oh, my God. The devil is a liar. He tried to make you give up. He tried to make you quit. He tried to make you lose your mind. But many of the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers us out of them all. Deliverance is breaking forth right now. Joy is breaking forth right now. Healing is breaking forth right now. Yes! Yes! From the bottom of my heart to the depths of my soul says yes! Yes to your way. Yes to your will. Yes to keep believing. Yes to holding on. Yes to not giving up. Yes to not quitting. Yes to not fading. Yes! There is one more point I did want to make, but you can stand on your feet if you want. I want to tell you the last thing. He said, we believe unto the saving of the soul. Our soul is my mind, my will, and my emotions. We believe, he said, keep believing to the saving of the soul. And when I thought about the saving of my soul, that means you got to believe until it becomes well with your soul. You got to believe till it becomes well with your soul. In other words, if I never see it, it's all right. If it don't happen, it's well with my soul. And the songwriter said, when peace like a river attended my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, no matter what I'm going through, thou hast taught me to say, it is well. It is well with my soul. Then the verse said this, though Satan should buffet, though trials should come, let this blessed assurance control that Christ has regarded my helpless estate and has shed his own blood for my soul. We believe to the saving of the soul. Now we know the breakthrough that the three Hebrew boys got, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, but it had gotten well with their souls. It got settled in their soul. They said, our God's able and he will deliver us. But even if he don't, he's still God. Even if he don't, I'm not bowing to your music. Even if he don't, I'm not worshiping any other God. Even if he don't, I'm not backsliding. It's well with my soul. How God is able. But if he doesn't, it's well. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't changing nothing. I'm going to keep reading these same scriptures. I'm going to keep making these same confessions. Oh, my God is faithful. I'm going to hold on to the word. I'm going to believe to the saving of my soul. It is well with my soul. I can't promise y'all gas gonna come back down to $2.50 a gallon or $1.99. I can't promise you that. No time soon. I can't promise you that Ukraine gonna drive Russia out of Ukraine tomorrow. I can't promise you that you won't face obstacles in your life. But what I can tell you is that if you stay in faith, he that shall come will come. And will not tarry. Let it be well with your soul. Paul said, the Hebrews said, we're not careful to answer you in this matter. We ain't scared of you. Do what you got to do, King. It's well with my soul. I told you what when Dottie said when they threatened to fire her. She said, when I came here looking for a job. When I came here, I was looking for a job. When I leave here, I'm going to be looking for, it's well with my soul. God's got me. Come on, did anybody believe that God? Come on, put your hand in yourself. Say, God's got me. God's got me. God's got me. I don't know how he's going to work it out, but he's going to work it out. I don't know how he's going to fix it, but he's going to fix it. I don't know when I'm going to see it, but he's going to turn it. Thank you, Lord God. Lift your hand to the Lord. Father, we thank you. Thank you for this word of faith that's come to encourage our faith. Thank you, Lord God, that there are people in this room right now, in the sound of my voice here in this worship center, as well as those who are watching online, who have made up their mind all the more today. I'm going to keep believing. I have nothing to lose by continuing to believe God. We are not of them that draw back to perdition, but we believe to the saving of our soul. So everyone whose hand is lifted right now, and all those watching by streaming who are tuned into this preacher right now, God work miracles in their life. Reward their faith. Reward their diligence. Reward their persistence. Reward their consistency. Reward them going through the persecution when other folks say, if I were you, I would have stopped by now. Thank you. You will reward their faith. I pray for quick, speedy turnarounds and manifestations. Oh, God, even on this day when people get home, let them hear of something that you did that happened while we were praying, while we were rejoicing, while we were sowing, while we were praising. In the midst of our praise, you turned something around. So we're going to wait on you. We're going to trust you. And we're going to have that Habakkuk faith that says, even if the figs don't bloom, even if there's no stalls, no cattle in the stalls, yet will I rejoice. Yet will I praise you. Yet will I magnify you. Yet will I exalt you. Yet will I give you honor. Because there's nobody like our God. Nobody like our God. So right now I declare, hey, Shamaha, that you're renewing strength. You're renewing strength to get in there again, to do it again, to be persistent again, to confess it again, to try again. In Jesus' name. So wait on the Lord. God's renewing your strength. Yes. Come on. They that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings as eagles. They shall run